Starkhaven is the largest and one of the most powerful city-states of the Free Marches, located along the Great Tevinter River. The city benefits greatly from trade both along the river and as an intersection of overland trade routes crossing the Free Marches due to its central location. Starkhaven is one of many city-states of the Free Marches that was freed from Tevinter rule when the Alamari, led by the Prophet Andraste, invaded the southern Tevinter Imperium. The Alamari warlord Mafrath apportioned the conquests between his 3 sons and himself after Andraste's death, with what would become the Free Marches falling to his son, Evrian. After a decade, however, the Archon of Tevinter revealed that Mafrath had conspired with him to kill Andraste. Evrian, being the most devout of Mafrath's sons, renounced his lineage and dispersed his holdings in 160 Ancient. The various cities quickly declared their independence, including Starkhaven. Starkhaven was ruled by a series of kings and petty warlords for centuries, who must have aided the Grey Wardens in the Second Blight, the last battle of which was fought at Starkhaven itself in 195 Divine, when the archdemon Zezakel was slain. However, whatever goodwill they might have gained was squandered 20 years later. King Phyrus of Starkhaven was a very ambitious man with allies in Tevinter. Starkhaven had emerged as the most prosperous city in the Free Marches at this time, and Phyrus believed the other Marcher cities should follow its lead. In 215 Glory, he began launching a series of campaigns to conquer the Free Marches and create his own empire. Alliances between various cities frustrated his imperial ambitions, however, and he made little progress. Phyrus made perhaps his greatest mistake in 233 Glory, when he started attacking cities in southern Antiva. The Antivans were able to repel him, but at this point Phyrus became a liability to his Tevinter allies. They were quite happy to have him create a Tevinter puppet state in the Free Marches, if frustrated by his failures, but now he was threatening Tevinter's diplomatic and trade ties to Antiva. Tevinter orchestrated a coup against Phyrus in 245 Glory, and annexed Starkhaven for the Imperium. Phyrus was exiled. Some stories say he drowned himself in the Tevinter River just outside the city, so that his last sight would be of his beloved Starkhaven. The city would remain under Tevinter rule for over 30 years, until the Chantry in Orlais called its second ever exalted march to dislodge the Imperium from Starkhaven in 280 Glory. The battle was brief and bloody. Starkhaven regained its independence. The city would be ruled by another series of petty warlords and self-declared kings for a time, causing constant trouble for its neighbors through raiding and minor wars. During the reign of a low-born, self-declared King Iron Fist, one of the city's aristocrats, Lord Vale, organized a peaceful protest against the king. Hundreds of Starkhaven's most prominent citizens fasted for 10 days and nights on the steps of the Chantry, their numbers increasing every day. This display did not move Iron Fist, but it did sway his men. After his soldiers began deserting in droves, Iron Fist surrendered his sword to the city's Templars and left the city forever. The people of Starkhaven were profoundly grateful to Lord Vale, and demanded that he become the new king, but Lord Vale declared that he had no right to that title. As a gesture of humility, Lord Vale took only the title of Prince. The Vale family have been the princes of Starkhaven ever since. They have remained deeply devout and traditionally dedicate one son or daughter to the Chantry each generation. The Vales have led the city through many crises over the centuries, including the Fourth Blight, which devastated the Free Marches. Early in the Blight, Starkhaven took in many refugees from Wycombe, as it was all but destroyed by the Darkspawn. The prince named a champion, a privilege held only by the leaders of the more powerful Marcher cities. The title is a recognition of an individual that has shown their dedication to their city through blood, sweat, and proven leadership. The champion of Starkhaven aided the Grey Wardens in the evacuation of Kirkwall in 521 Exalted, and later participated in the Battle of Islay, the final battle of the Fourth Blight, alongside a coalition force assembled by the Grey Wardens. During the Storm Age, several centuries later, as the war with the invading Qunari raged in the north, a force of Qunari landed in the southern Free Marches. They hoped to stop further reinforcements from Orlais by capturing 2 Marcher cities. From Kirkwall, they could block the Waking Sea. From Starkhaven, they could intercept armies and supplies going overland through the Free Marches and down the Menanter. In 756 Storm, the Qunari laid siege to Starkhaven. They ultimately failed to take the city, though Kirkwall was not so fortunate. In more recent years, the city has had some trouble. In 931 Dragon, most of the ruling Vale family was murdered, and, in an unrelated incident, the Circle Tower burned down, forcing the Templars to transfer the city's mages to Kirkwall. A cousin of the family was installed as prince by the conspirators behind the murders, but eventually the last son of the royal family left his life as a brother in the chantry in Kirkwall and became Prince of Starkhaven, Sebastian Vale. Starkhaven remains one of the wealthiest cities in Thedas, known for its opulent palaces, granite-paved streets, and succulent cuisine. For the foreseeable future, it remains one of the most powerful Marcher cities. Okay, I do have something I want to bring up because this has been a bee in my bonnet. It's about this image of Starkhaven from the comics. This is our only full image of the city, and it doesn't really jive with what we've been told about it in codex entries. It's supposed to be a river port city on the Menanter, which as far as we know seems to be Thedas' biggest river. I ask you though, where in this image do you see a port? For that matter, if this is the Menanter, then how are any trading vessels getting down that waterfall? I feel like somebody was tasked with drawing a medieval fantasy city from a military defense standpoint, but didn't think about the practicality of trade. Maybe this waterfall is just an offshoot and there's a proper port settlement on the banks of a larger river just out of frame, and this is more like the Citadel or something. This is just something that annoyed me a bit. This image of Starkhaven isn't particularly lore-friendly, is what I'm saying. Maybe I'm too nitpicky. I've put a discount code for the BioWare gear store that should be viable for a few days. Full disclosure, I do get a small commission for sales with this code. I'll try to put them out somewhat regularly on Twitter. Well, that's all I have to say for now. I hope you all have a nice day.